So I've lived in my car twice in my life, and I'm going to explain something to you if you are having to decide whether or not to leave an abusive relationship, leave an abusive home, leave anything. Why this is the way to go, and you don't listen to anybody else. I'm going to explain to you. Ready? So first things first, do you see this girl? Do you see this dog? That's Moo Moo. That's me. Okay, let me tell you something. I've had to make the choice to live in my car twice to protect not only my mental health and to make sure I was protecting my children. At the time I moved in my car the first time, I was living with my grandmother. We had some family problems going on where I was not being protected, where I was not able to even advocate for myself and fight back. And it got to a point where everybody, after I got tired of them just walking all over me, and I got tired of just being quiet and manifesting my future and keeping my head down, and when I finally snapped, they all ran and played victim and all that, and I got the fuck up out there with $1.04 to my name. I left, and do you know what I did? I got on the phone with somebody that owed me $300 and was like, yo, I'm gonna need you to run me that money now because I gotta stay in my car. I don't know how long I'm gonna be here. I drove here and here and I cried a little bit. I read a couple books, whatever. And then I was just like, Tristina, you said you wanted van life. And I bottled that shit up. I built a fucking beautiful little camper in my car, and I traveled across the country, and I was working on my weight and my self-care and my business and all of that. You see all my graphic design. That's because instead of focusing on trying to fix the problems with the abusers, instead of focusing on crying about how my family didn't love me, my parents don't love me, my father don't love me, why is nobody coming and wanting me to have a safe space so that I can grow, I went and I fucking grew. Okay, and I can give you 1,000,001 tips about that, and I will, about how you clean up yourself, how you keep your car clean, where to stay and all that. I will, because I stopped. This girl stopped making that content because what did I do? I went back home and I moved back in with another family member, and the cycle went again. And then I had to go back to the other place because when I had to leave that house because I got tired of keeping my head down. The first time I spoke up, it became a thing. And then they said, well, you live in my house. And I said, well, watch me get the fuck out. With no car at that point. With no idea where I was going to go other than back to the place I knew I didn't want to be. And I sat there for a couple weeks and I kept my head down and they tortured me and tortured me and tortured me. And then guess what happened? God came through and I had that back pay for the unemployment and I got the fuck up out of there. And where did I go? I came to Rochester. So to the assholes that said I fled Pennsylvania because of family problems, yeah, you're right. I fucking did. And I came to Rochester and I worked on myself and I kept my head down and I worked on my business and I struggled to pay my, quote, bills because a landlord that agreed for me to move to Rochester into that place and do whatever the fuck I wanted with it and make it beautiful because I am a social media girl and I have brands lined up at the time that I was going to be able to say, hey, listen, these are my numbers when I'm just on here. Watch what happens if you give me some paint to throw on a wall. He reneged on a contract. And that is why I lived in Rochester and did not pay that man a fucking dollar anymore after I was paying him with my unemployment, making sure that I was paying my rent and I had no other things at all. Nothing else to feed myself. Nothing else to clothe myself. Nothing else but graphic design. You understand me? And that man told me, why don't you go work at McDonald's? To pay you rent, cracker, please get the fuck out of my face. And so therefore I said, oh, you forgot we're in the middle of a pandemic. You forgot we're in the middle of a housing crisis. You forgot that there are programs and there are laws that are going to protect me that you can't kick me out. So excuse me when you said I was up for eviction before Nicole Bayly or Colleen or whoever the fuck said it. I don't know. You guys go read the transcript and tell me. But when you spoke on that, you didn't know what the fuck you were speaking on. I got to stay up in that motherfucker and keep a roof over my fucking head because I knew the law. I knew that man broke a contract and he knew it. And he knew whatever I get back from the state is way better than whatever the fuck she's gonna fucking sue us for. Do you understand me? But anyway, let's stay on topic here. Okay? So that girl stopped making that content because I went back home and I was with family and they didn't like me filming too much because of this and that and etc. So I kind of bottled it all in, and then I wasn't posting it because I was feeling shameful and all of that and etc. And then when I came to New York, that's when I started posting again. That's when I got back into my shit. That's when I figured out how to grow on Twitter, and that's when I realized the bitches on Twitter are fucking haters. So I got the fuck up off of Twitter, but I stay on Twitter and I keep going on Twitter because that's why when people like Nicole Bayly came for me and I was on Twitter and she realized I had a following of attorneys and all that because I stay in the YSL trial, came in handy. But anyway, I'm back over here in TikTok. Now I'm on TikTok and I can sit here and guess what? I'm living in my car. And it is wild how many people will see I'm living in my car and immediately have something to say because you got a man and you living in your car, so what's that mean? Because that's not my man. That's my man. No, to you bitches, that's my man. But that's not my man. Why? Because that man can't put me into a house. That man can't have me move in his house. That man can't provide for me. You know why? Because that man has kids and that man is too busy providing for his kids. That man is too busy getting his life back together after relationship after relationship after relationship. After every time you go and you have to, lean on somebody else, they're ready to throw you back in the streets the first time you stop being a fucking doormat. Okay, you know why I'm in my car right now? It's because somebody thought I was going to be around them and I was going to be a fucking doormat. They had me fucked up. I wasn't a doormat and I'm nobody's ladder up. Do you understand me? I will show you where to go get a ladder and where to fucking climb that ladder yourself. But I'm no one else's fucking ladder. Do you understand me? And neither are you. So if you have to move into your car, if you need to leave an abusive family, if you need to leave an abusive relationship, if you just want to go live in another fucking city and you have nothing but a car, follow me and ask me questions because I can give you all kinds of tips and tricks and all of that. Because you know what I realized today when I ended up back in that Planet Fitness bathroom? Baby, you literally are right back, quote, where you started. Film some content while you're in here. Tag Planet Fitness. Meet some girls. Network like you did before when I lived in Colorado. Be that girl that the one day somebody's going to see this and be like, I fucking remember her. I remember her in Colorado in our Planet Fitness, in our fucking bathroom. I remember her in our parking lot with her dogs at the come and go. I remember that. Because when I'm in my car now, I want you to remember I'm in my car because this city is going to remember the girl that was in her car because she wouldn't fucking leave until they found her baby. You understand me? It's not just a court case. It is the fact that you cannot locate my child. I cannot ask an attorney, have you spoken to your client? Have you seen your client? Because everybody's watching me. Everybody's seeing what I'm doing. And Ronald knows that. I wonder if Ronald's even still here. Do you know that? I wonder if Ronald ran. Do you know that? Has Ronald changed Sevyn's identity? Has Ronald done any of the things that people do when they try to hide children? Because Ronald's made it very clear he's trying to hide a child. You want to talk about illegals and men doing illegal things? Men burning up families and women and children? It is because you ignore men like Ronald because they're cute. Because they're quiet. Because they don't like to be looked at. Well, baby, I love a motherfucking stage. My daddy might have... He fucked up for real. Y'all should blame Tim Hurst for this. Because maybe if he would have just let me get a microphone when I was younger, we wouldn't be here. Maybe if he would have let me just do that ballet, maybe if he would have just let me do anything that put me on a stage, we wouldn't be here. You know why I was never allowed to be on a stage? Because every time I was on a stage, my fucking mommy showed up. Me and Tammy might have a lot of motherfucking issues, but my mommy always fucking shows up to my stage. So, Mom, if you're wondering why I'm upset over that text message you have, it's because you've been watching me on a fucking stage. You don't ever talk to the people that want to take me off my fucking stage, no matter what. No matter what, that's code. No matter how sad you are, no matter how much you feel like I'm ignoring what everybody else is feeling. Because you have no idea what I'm feeling, and I'm feeling strong, and I'm feeling fucking motivated, and I don't got time to say it to nobody because nobody wants to listen. But to the people who do want to listen here, this is the page you come to when you want to hear somebody talk that shit. Because I've had more than enough dark moments. Do you know, in order to have this picture with a camera propped up and my cup sitting like that and my makeup on and my little pots and things and all this around me and cute and comfy with my dogs, it meant there was a day I was in that fucking car, okay? And I'm not gonna cry. I'm holding it. I know. I feel it. I'm not gonna cry. But there was a day I was in that car and I had nothing but a fucking mat for a lawn chair. I had bruises on my fucking hip. And I had... Sorry, it cut off, but it's okay because I got to change the image. Anyway, I had Nadine Burke in my ear, and she was talking about The Deepest Well. And if you've never read that book, I suggest you do, and trigger warning, get yourself a therapist. Because when you talk about the trauma that people go through from their fucking parents not having their shit together and how it affects you, you realize, oh my God, I'm like this because of them. Oh my God. Oh my God, here I am trying to fix all these things as if it's my fault. I'm all these things, but I am like this because of them. It took me having to go through the deepest moment ever and writing that suicide note that I still to this day have to a man that was locked up in prison, telling him, I am so sorry that I am going to have to do this to you, but I can't do this. Do you understand me? I can't do this. At that moment, I was so sad. I was the saddest I ever been because at the end of the day, when I lived in my car, there was 2 fucking people that were responsible for me, no matter how old I was, no matter how much I make them mad, no matter what. There was 2 people that should have made sure that the world was never able to think that I was alone enough that they could fuck with me, that they could fuck with my kids, that they could fuck with my money, that they could fuck with my head, that they could fuck with my reputation and anything. There was 2 people that are responsible. Do you understand me? And my whole life, everybody's been able to question my character, not realizing I am this way because of them. Because when they do not protect me, and then they get a phone call that I fucking did something, or they see something where I react to somebody else, they only react to me. Okay? And I just want to make that clear to the people dealing with your parents. This isn't to the millennials that got their fucking lives all figured out. This is to the 20-something-year-old that is trying to figure out why your narcissistic-ass fucking parent treats you like shit. It's because they look at themselves and they try to figure out why they can't be you. Why can't they be you? It's because they don't see who you are when they're not watching. This wasn't the revolution. It was not televised. These moments, this part, was not televised. It was documented. I have the photos. I have the videos. I have the times I cried, and it wasn't televised because when I posted it and people came in on the first video where I talked about living in my car, they called me a horrible fucking mother to my dogs. Horrible mother to my dogs. Why would you have those dogs with you? Do you know why my dogs were with me? Because what was the alternative? Put them in a fucking shelter so that I could go stay with somebody and be comfortable and have this? No. I took my dogs and instead we did this every day. I sat and I worked on my homework. I fucking worked on my business. I made videos. I did all that. And my dogs got to lay there and watch people go by and bark and hike. I took them to the beach. We hung out. I did the best I could. My dog just passed away. She's 13 years old. My dog just passed away last summer. And I've not been able to even grieve that. And that's why I'm going to struggle when I give you guys this. And I just need you to understand. Because as long as me, their mom had them in that fucking car at night, and I knew where they were, I slept like a fucking baby. So when you see me on here and you see me tired and you see me exhausted, it's because 278 days I've not known where my daughter has slept. If my daughter's okay, I've not been able to say goodnight to her and kiss her goodnight and make sure she has her stars. Okay, now I'm crying, bitch. Fuck you. And make sure she has her stars, and make sure she has her Barney, and make sure she has her shows, and make sure all that. Someone has robbed me from that because his mother didn't care how he slept every fucking night. You understand me? This is about mothers. This is about women. This is about community. This is about protecting children. This is about building yourselves up so that you don't repeat the curses. Because I can tell you right now, my mom's texting people talking about I'm out of control. Nah, bitch. In my Sevy voice, I'm getting that shit. What?